So we recorded this podcast a few months ago now, Soph, didn't we? We were back in London.
I know, it feels like ages.
Yeah, we're now in New Zealand, wearing very little because it's so hot.
Yeah, I'm smelly constantly. Sorry, I should stop saying that. It's really gross, isn't it? But I just feel
it's
sticky.
kind of, I'm like, thank goodness podcast is audio and not in real life.
You know that feeling when you put fake tan on, just after you put fake tan on and your skin, like you touch it and it's like sticky? That's how it feels. Like yesterday I stood up off a chair and my ass stuck to the chair and then like sort of peeled off. I was like, oh,
lovely.
Not nice.
But yes, we interviewed the beautiful Cartia Mallan back in London a few months ago when it was probably their summer, not the depths of winter that they're in now. And it was a really, really incredible conversation. And gosh, she was such a great energy. I love talking to her.
She's been like an online personality for a really long time. She's got 508,000 followers on Instagram. I don't even know how many on YouTube, but a lot. She's been building this up as her business for a really long time. And we wanted to speak to someone who identified as an influencer or a content creator and were open to speaking about rates and how they negotiate things with clients and what that's like as a freelancer in the space of content creation. It's really interesting because only really in the last couple of years has this become a proper career choice that people are now interested in doing because you can make a lot of money and she's been incredibly successful. So it was a really interesting chat and we spoke a lot. She doesn't know a whole lot about investing and I loved the bit towards the end where she started asking you questions, Vic, and she was like, okay, so say I this, because I quite liked. That was, yeah, I thought that was cool.
I was like, no, we're interviewing you. It was really good to see that she was interested in invested a little bit herself, and I loved how she kept saying slay. It was
I was like,
quite funny.
We've got to keep up with the young kids, you know, like they all say slay. And also one thing to note as well is that the audio, like classic Sophie Victoria setup, there was a couple of times where our microphone kind of bled into each other's. So there's a few bits of like random echo, but stick with it. I listened to the whole thing just before and it's actually totally fine. But if you're like, this isn't the Curve's normal tip-top perfection audio, then
we're sorry.
Sorry about that. Yeah. But enjoy the episode. And this is also just, Vic, just so you know, this is our 100th episode.
Wow.
100th episode of Raising the Curve.
Pop the champagne.
Yeah, I know.
Gosh, if you'd told me that when we did our first one, I would have been like, laughing.
I know.
Oh my gosh, can we have a celebration when we reach our 1000th episode? God, we'll be old and grey by then.
So far away.
I'm already old and grey.
How long have we done? 3 years. So that means if we did that times 10 so 30 years away. So it's retirement. We'll be in our 20-year holiday.
Yeah. God, the conversations would be quite good. Remember when we
True, we'd probably just be drunk the whole time.
$75 a week. Now it's got to
Okay, enough from us. Enough from us.
Enough from us.
Over to Cartia. So we have a guest in studio who feels kind of like home, right? She's Australian, close to New Zealand.
Close to home, probably.
Yeah. Cartia Mallan. Now, you have been someone that I've followed for a long time in terms of just like you have such amazing, honest, vulnerable content. So for anyone who doesn't know Cartia, she has a massive YouTube. That's kind of your main channel, right? YouTube, Instagram. I mean, on the thousands of online platforms that we have these days.
And it's really overwhelming.
It is.
Wake up, that new day, new platform.
Oh, gosh. We wanted to get you on because I mean, our podcast, as you know, we're talking about money and we're trying to create more open, candid conversations about all things, finance, investing, how people make money, how much they make, you know, and which can be really uncomfortable. We get it. Yeah. But I know with a lot of your content over the years and things that you've shared on the various platforms about mental health, about friendship, about love, relationship, sex, like you're very much about trying to be as candid on the internet as you can be. And I think that it's really hard to do that well. I think a lot of people are really trying to step into that space but not doing it authentically, whereas you've kind of been the OG of doing that since, you know, the beginning of time.
I've been crying on Snapchat. I remember like it all started when I would just cry on my Snapchat and it was just like I didn't really question it. I just was like, this is what I do.
How would you describe yourself? Like what would your living, walking bio be?
I guess, first and foremost, like you would say I'm an influencer. I think that's what everyone just calls it now, and you split content creator, whatever. But my background's actually in acting. I grew up acting and doing all of theatre school and all that, and that's what I thought I would do. And then I ended up transitioning into this. It just happened naturally when I was younger, because I posted a video on YouTube and it went viral when it was like back in the makeup days. Anyway, so then I just gained a following from that, and now I guess I do, social media on mainly Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok and stuff. And then I also have a podcast with my best friend Ashton. We talk lots about mental health.
Okay, so online is your job and your life, and you're documenting it all the time. From a financial perspective, what was that journey like for you in terms of going from doing something organically to becoming a job that is funding your lifestyle?
It was really funny because I started when I was 17, and as I said, it happened like really organically, and influencing per se was not a thing yet. Like it wasn't how everyone now is like, I want to be an influencer. Like back then I was literally at the start of when it was happening. So it was kind of like this weird thing where you kind of got given stuff, and then slowly it was like, I'm going to charge for this now, or like I'm going to start getting money for this, or I'd get offered things or shoots, and so I was really young, so these brands would be offering me money, and I was like, I don't know, like what the fuck?
Quite fun at such a young age.
Yeah. Would you be like, oh my God, cool, like a couple of $100, and now you'd probably, you kind of quantify it.
It was really cool and just weird. And so I obviously went to my mum. My mum used to work in banking, and she was actually an accountant and a bookkeeper.
Hot girl energy from your mum.
She tries to teach me, and it just goes whoop. I think I have like number dyslexia, like it just doesn't clock in my brain. So I said to my mum, like, can you help me with this? So slowly my mum ended up becoming my manager. It was giving Kris Jenner, like I had a momager, and we honestly just learned about it as we went.
On reflection, do you think you did it right, or in terms of, do you think that you could have got more, or that you kind of wish that you were more?
What learnings have you had?
Yeah,
I think we slayed. Like I say to my mum, I'm like, honestly,
I think we slayed it.
Yeah. I think we really slayed. Like I always say to my mum, like, maybe you should just manage me again, because we honestly killed the game. My mum is like the best woman in the world. She becomes friends with every client. She still speaks to clients that I had shoots with years ago. She's getting happy birthday messages. They're checking in with each other every week. I'm like, you are.
But that's what you need, though.
That's what you need to do. And people, I think, in the industry just don't get it. That it's like, yes, you're on the screen and stuff, but you need to be making friends with people in your industry. Yes, the PR girls or the brands, the clients, like you can't just be like, oh, give me money and I'll post this. Like you can, but you're not going to get very far with it. You need to just still be a human and be humble and be like approachable. And I think that's why I think my mum and I worked really well together. And you just open communication, like, hey, this is the rate we have. This is what we can work in with. Like, I think people get quite awkward with the money talk,
definitely.
Especially if you're managing yourself. I know it can be awkward, but my mum often would just pick up the phone and call the brand if there was issues. No, like not that back and forth awkward emailing. So
did you give her a cut? Like, how did that work?
She never took anything from me, bless her. But I would like always buy her little presents, and I'd fly her around places, and we'd do dinner. Like I try and make up for it, but now she does all my accounting. She gets paid, so I think because I was younger, she, like, bless her, she was like, you're just young, I'm not going to take money from you. But no, so she never took a cut, bless her. But I worked with her for a few years, and then I signed with IMG at quite a young age. And I think there was lots that I learned in that. Was like signing with a big company. I was young. Like, they knew what they were getting out of me.
100%. We've been there as well.
Yeah. No, you do. You need that learning. And I mean, it's so tricky. I always say I should honestly write a ebook about influencing and what to do and what not to do, what to look out for, especially when you sign with an agency or even just in contracts. They try and get you on everything. Like, it's sneaky business. So that's my biggest learning, is just like my mum always says, like, contracts, you got to read them, reread them, and read them again and again, and get someone else to read them. And another big learning is with agencies or anyone, like, they're working for you. You've got to speak up, and it can be really scary and confronting to speak up sometimes, but communication with clients or with brands, and especially with management, is so important. And just being like very vocal, very direct, and like just sorting out anything. Yeah.
Did you ever feel like, when you're having those negotiations, particularly on the money side of things, like uncomfortable and like, I guess some tips or tricks, or was it like good having your mum there?
Yeah, just I guess any kind of tips you have for aspiring, whether they be influencers or content creators, for things to think about when it comes to contracts and money.
Obviously, having a middle person is really good for the money side of things, because it can just feel really uncomfortable and awkward. It shouldn't, because it's like it's just your rates. It's like any job, this is your rates, but I understand it can be. So it definitely helped at the start having my mum. I think a tip is don't be afraid to quote what you think you're worth in that, or if you know that's what rate you deserve, then I would absolutely always quote top rate, and then let the brand bring you down, and you can see if you're happy to fit with that. But you know what you deserve in this, and I think if you stand your ground with how much you know you deserve, they always come back around eventually. Or if you're happy to move it down, you can do that. But if you're really uncomfortable, write an email, pretend that it's from someone else. I don't know. I know friends that do that. Or if you have a manager, obviously you get them to negotiate rates. But and
it's kind of like if they want you, they'll find the money or the
Absolutely.
resource or something from somewhere. And I remember my sister once said to me, she's like, you would rather they go, damn, we can't afford her, than damn, we got her for a cheap rate.
And
it's so true.
I've turned down so many jobs that I've wanted to do before, or that it's brands that I've liked, but it's like, this is actually a bit embarrassing that you think I'm worth that little. So from the start, I've always just said, this is my rate. And there's been a few jobs that I'll come down if it's a long-term contract, but I'm notorious for being like, I know what I'm worth in the industry, and you have to know your worth in the industry. It's so saturated. It's just being honest. Like I want to be a premium talent. I'm not accessible to every brand. And it's like, if you really want me, then you'll know my worth in this. And I'll also work really fucking hard for you, but you have to know your worth.
It's almost like stems into all areas of life too. I think it's relationships, it's friendships, it's everything. And I think as soon as you set the bar down here, it's saying like, I think I'm okay with this.
Absolutely. It bleeds into every aspect, because that's how I feel about exactly what you said, my relationships, my friendships, everything. It's, I know my worth, and this is how much, and it shouldn't, it's like money can be so awkward for people. And like, I know so many people, and even at me at the start, I was like, oh, this is scary, like sending this number off an email, like send. And you'll honestly be so shocked at how much comes back when you believe you're worth that much. You're like, yes, I know how hard I'm working for this brand. Yes, I know what I can deliver. Obviously, it's different if you're quoting stupid amounts of money and you're providing not great content, you're not being kind to the client, you're not being responsive.
Because that reputation gets around as well.
Your reputation in the industry is absolutely everything. And I'm someone that also, like, whatever my deliverables are, I'll normally post more than that, in terms of if it's like a brand trip or it's something like you want to
over-deliver.
I'll always try and over-deliver than under-deliver.
Then they come back again as well, or they'll do extend the partnership. Or,
How many income revenue streams do you have? Like, is it majority from the different platforms, or do you have like affiliate partnerships? Like, in terms of building out Cartia Mallan as a business, where is that at now? And is there kind of a vision for how you'd like that to evolve?
Yeah, I feel like I have been just being a little kid for the past, since I started. And I've not been very smart with where I put my money. Like, it's funny because all of my family is very business savvy. Like my dad's side, they're all in like business and construction and all this. My brother is like a mathematical nerd and investment nerd. My mother is an investment nerd. And I'm just here like, all my money is sitting in my bank account rotting.
Excuse me?
Oh my God.
Yeah, no.
You need to talk to Vic.
And I'm like, I need to speak to you. And my mum has helped me invest. I've invested some money in some stocks.
Nice.
Don't know where that's at.
See,
I
that's
don't even
interesting. Do you know what you've invested in?
Afterpay.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And she slayed me with that. Because I don't know what it is now, and I don't understand stocks. I'll probably never really get into that because I don't know. I would love to get into property. Like that's somewhere I think I could thrive, is property investment. And so when I go home to Oz, I'm going to buy myself my first place.
Is that because you like the design and the interior and you feel like you can
it's like
own
visual.
it? Or,
it's a tangible
it's
kind
tangible
of,
and it's visual, and I just get it. For some reason, I kind of think I could.
That's the thing that
grasp
frustrates me
that.
about investing in stocks.
Hold on, we've got a guest. Don't get too angry.
No, but it's just it's all numbers on a screen. It's like if they made it more interesting and fun, you'd get way more buy-in from people.
Yeah.
And I wish I got it because it seems amazing to get, but I don't. But my the affiliate stuff is something I'm going to look into. Like I've just signed with the new management, and they're like, you should get on this little affiliate thing because it's definitely an easy way to make extra money.
Do you mean that like when you send someone to a product?
Yeah, like
then you get
links
it?
and stuff. Because I think people, make quite a bit off that. Most of my money comes from just my brand sponsorships and my podcast and stuff. But all of our money from our podcast goes straight back into the business. Like we're not paying ourselves from that or anything. But I'm definitely going to look into. I've had ideas for different brands I've wanted to do for years, and I have multiple ideas. It's more just finding the time and like commitment to when I'm ready to do that. And I have like 50 million things in my brain I want to do at once, so I end up getting scrambled. But
Oh, exactly the same.
yeah. I want to sit and like speak to my brother because he's someone that is kind of like, what the fuck are you doing? Like you're an
So
idiot.
you've got your savings in the bank basically at the moment, or a lot of them.
yeah. It's all just sitting there. It's all just.
Do you want to do a quick little spiel? I feel like maybe you could.
You're like,
Like, how long do we have?
yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, it actually there will be people listening who maybe this is the first episode they've listened to, or people who follow Cartia and have no idea about anything to do with money. It might be kind of worth just doing a quick little why it's not great to have your money in the bank.
Yeah, so it's not great to have your money in the bank.
No, I literally feel dumb about it already.
Don't feel dumb. This has been me.
Teach me. I'm
If
ready.
you didn't know, you didn't know. Honestly, it's because like inflation is running probably 7-8% still in the UK, and so your money a year ago you can now purchase less with it because inflation is eating away at it. So
And is it kind of the percentage of inflation? So like what you can buy now is 8% more expensive than last year. So technically if you've got like what?
So the dollar value is the same,
Yeah.
but what you can purchase with that has been a lot less.
Yeah.
So it's like you need to make sure that your money in the bank is growing as much as inflation or more. So we're in a really tricky,
Otherwise you're losing a huge percentage.
yeah. So we're in a tricky time at the moment because inflation's so high. But even when inflation's like 2 to 3%, you're still losing money back even in the bank unless it's growing by greater than that. So that's kind of why you're going to be going backwards unless you. She's like, I know.
And then she's like, it's stressful now.
Don't get me wrong.
No, I need this.
Yeah.
I need this. So
But-
what's the best thing that I should be putting it into?
Well, it depends what your goals are. But if you want to buy property, in
Do you
a
think
couple
that's smart or
years,
stupid?
I think property is great investment. Yeah, it's figuring out what is right for you. Don't invest in stocks if you don't care for them or you don't understand them.
But
There's
I
no
do-
point because you won't be interested and you'll lose motivation.
Yeah.
If property is something you want to own because you want to buy it, do it up, live in it, whatever, that's a great investment. So it's just like figuring out what's right for you. And it doesn't just because everyone else is doing stocks or everyone else is doing property.
I think
doesn't
my
mean-
gut just has for years gone just property. Like even when I was 18, I moved to Byron Bay and I said to my mum, you need to buy something here. Like if I had the money right now, I'd buy something here. And she looked into it for a bit. Look what's happened now to Byron Bay. If I bought that house years ago for like 800K out in Bangalore, which now costs 1.7, 1.8, 2.1, whatever million.
7.3.
It's crazy how much it's gone up. And I always say to my mum, you should have listened to me. So now I'm going to go home and definitely like invest in.
But there'll be another Byron Bay. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
For
hard to
sure,
figure,
but, like,
figure it out. Yeah, I know, but it's hard.
But it's Byron Bay.
But I also think Australians and New Zealanders have like some weird fascination with owning property. Like it's kind of, I think, the sense of home or like because we have the space and you know we've grown up with our parents owning properties and we want our own. It's kind of a sense of like success as well. And I don't know, it's part of nesting, all of that stuff.
What about like investing in like stuff like watches? I know all the bros do that.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
smart. I said to my mum, I was like, because I was saying, my money's sitting in this account and what do we do? And she's like, well, you said you wanted to buy a house. So I'm not trying to encourage you to put it into stocks if you want to buy a house. And I was like, I'm going to buy a watch. And she was like, what? And I was like, well, all the bros are doing it. And they're all buying these crazy watches. And all my friends are like, well, good luck getting one. You have to go on a waiting list. And I was like, okay, well, I'll figure it out. But they do go up a lot.
Yeah.
So
No,
I'm like,
Rolex has done like fantastically well. But again, it comes down to like what interests you. If you're really interested in watches, then you'll know what ones are.
You gotta
worth
research.
more. Yeah, you do have to do a bit
Same
of
with
research.
handbags, right?
Same with handbags.
that's
They're an investment, like Chanel handbags.
yeah, getting Chanel handbags. I'm like, this is something I could get around
Yeah.
investing in.
Yeah. It's just sometimes
probably
very
wanna
easy
wear
to be
it,
like,
though.
oh, Chanel handbags, shoes,
Yeah,
jackets. Coats. Like, no. It was the handbags that were going up in value, not the rest. It's like,
Yeah, totally.
But it's so true. It's like you don't have to fit the mold and invest in what everyone else is investing. It's like investing is anything that's going to go up in value.
Yeah.
So if it's vintage cars, if it's art, like whatever,
Jewelry.
whatever.
My brother
tickles your
does
fancy,
art
yeah.
as well and stuff. I
Yeah.
feel like I want to get into. I feel like I've just hit that age now where I'm like, okay, you've you've been going down this one path for a long time. It's time to wise up, smarten up a little bit, so you're not just relying on this one income stream, because it's not going to be forever. My desires for what I want for myself is changing every day with the whole influencing world. Like, it's not new and fun to me anymore. I've been in it for so long, and I just see it becoming ridiculously saturated. Then I'm like, okay, we need to wise up.
That's really good though, that you know to have multiple income streams, because
Yeah.
it's also with investing. It's like, okay, well, maybe if you've got the money, maybe you do invest some in watches and some in property, because the property market could blow up one day, but you'll be like, hey, you know what? I've got my watch. Or like, but you know, like, it sounds stupid, but it's like so true. It's like the more that you can diversify your income, your investments, anything is like, you're going to be like way more at ease.
I also think, you know how you've got this like tiny little part of your brain that's, oh my God, me telling you like as if you've got a tiny brain. What I mean is there's like a little voice in the back of your head where you're like, I kind of know I shouldn't have my savings in the bank, but I also kind of don't feel super confident knowing what to do with it.
Yeah.
I think what I've really found in the last couple of years, the more that I've learned about investing in the different assets, might not just be stocks, is when you have used that money in a clever way and you've invested in something that you know, you're like, yeah, that was good for me.
Yeah.
You have this confidence and like I've got myself more than just having money in a bank account. Whereas I used to think I'd just look at my savings and be like, oh, there's 15 grand. I feel good about that. Whereas now, like, for example, I was looking at my Sharesies, which is an online where you can invest in stocks. Sorry to mansplain.
Yeah.
And I put in, I think it was 16,000. Anyway, that went up to 21,000 just in the last year. So I made nearly $6,000 on my stocks.
Yeah.
And like that to me, I'm just like, whoa, I'm like so proud of myself.
Totally.
And I feel empowered financially.
Yeah, as you slowly take the steps, and it's just, I think it's definitely that getting the confidence. And my mistake is that I haven't asked enough people, and I feel like the more people you do ask, or you like, and it's amazing that you guys have a podcast about it, which I need to start listening to every week, because it does help when it's a bit more simplified in like a normal human terms. And it's just, I'm lazy like that. If something's too overwhelming for my brain, I'm like, I'll just deal with that later. Now I'm just turned 25. I'm like, later's now. Let's get ahead so that you can fund your life. You don't need no mans to,
100%.
have you sorted. You got this yourself. So yeah.
Speaking of men, and also just generally, I mean, dating in the public eye,
Yes.
do you know what is so weird? This is really embarrassing to admit. But when I was on my way here, I was like, I wonder if your net worth is visible. I was just thinking like when you are a public figure, like any actors you can Google. But dating someone who is a public figure, whether they're a footballer, actor, or whatever, where you can also do the same thing with that. Like you can Google your partner's net worth, which you can't do when you're just dating like someone you meet on Hinge. How does that dynamic financially play out for you? Like, is that something you've experienced in relationship where like there's not been imbalance? But I'd just love to hear your experience with money in relationships.
Yeah, I've had one relationship where my partner knew I was making more than him. We were in same industry. And it definitely caused a bit of like friction in terms of like, I guess maybe he didn't feel as masculine, and that it like became a little bit competitive in that, which I never have had an issue with. I was like, for me, it's like as long as my partner is working and he's equally as passionate as I am as what I'm doing and like driven and motivated, he's not just sitting on a couch smoking weed, and I'm paying for everything, then it's fine. But even in terms of, then another partner I've had was making a shit ton of money, and I'm like slay. That's so good for you. But for me, I'm not I've never been a very money oriented person. Now, as you can tell, I've never really focused on it very much. Like I'm very like passion based. So it doesn't matter to me, and that doesn't also like define why I'm with that person.
Of course.
But I don't see it as an imbalance. Like for me, I'm just like, oh, that's like great for you. If anything, it motivates me. Like my last relationship was motivating to me. I'm like, wow, you're making like a real lot of money, and I'm looking how you're living, and I'm like, whoa,
You're like, I want this.
yeah, I want this for myself, or like this is possible. Like, and it's just motivating, I think.
Did you, when you would go on dates and stuff, would it be, let's split this? Like, how does it work in your situation where, for example, the most recent one where they're obviously killing it financially, and you're doing super well too.
Yeah.
But how did that play out for you?
I think a lot of the time as well. I feel like British men are much more like chivalrous. Is that the word? Chivalrous. Than Australian men. Australian men, it's you're splitting the bill with me kind of vibe. I feel like British guys are much more like they kind of know that like they're taking the woman out. And I also feel like my ex was very generous and like he would often pay for dinners, but I would always make sure like every once in a while like I was getting things here and there or like paying for the dinners, or like if we went out with friends, us girls would pay the bill because he would often like do that and stuff. And because I would never want it to feel like I was just there like to get all of that from him kind of thing. And yeah, I don't know. And that was new to me as well when I started dating him, accepting that he was like just like paying the dinner bills all the time. And I was like, wow, this is like really crazy.
It's actually also sometimes so nice. Like I hate this, like I get this real, like I find it uncomfortable because I'm like, I don't want you to pay, but I also so nice when you do.
Yeah. I think for me there's a very fine line. And like sometimes it's like, no, I'm going to pay. This is 50-50. This is relationship. And then other times I'm like, what do you mean you're not paying? What?
Yeah.
It's like, honestly, like poor guy dating me. It's like, should I not? Like, honestly, I
just followed his lead on it and like would always make sure I was doing little things here and there and cute little things and like doing things within my means that could show him that I was also like contributing. And if he was ever like, can you get this? I'd be, oh yeah, of course. Even if it was like however much money was spent on the bill, I'd never say no and make him pay. Like I'd grown up being like, no, I'll always pay. I'll pay. Like I'll get it even when it's kind of like a situation where I probably could have sat back. But yeah, it's just,
it's such a funny.
I just learned to surrender. I was like, I'll accept this, you know?
I also think there's something really interesting in what you said about within my means, because also if you're with someone who has super expensive taste and they earn heaps of money and you actually can't afford to go and pay for a £400 dinner and he wants to go there or she wants to go there, it's a funny one because you do want to contribute, but also you wouldn't be choosing that restaurant because it's not necessarily within your means. So it's
I would like even say to him if we were going on say like a double date, or I remember one night we were going to go on this double date at like one of our favorite restaurants and we would always order this steak at this place. It's like this Wagyu and it was like a 350-pound Wagyu, and which is ridiculous, but I guess to him it's like whatever. And I said, whatever you do not order the Wagyu because, you know, Ashton's guy that she's bringing will want to split the bill with you. Like obviously us girls, it's you guys are going to pay. Like please don't do that to him. And he was like, no, we won't. So it's like you just have you have to have mindfulness around people's.
My gosh, a 350-pound Wagyu. I kind of want to try it.
It's really good.
Was it like a crowned cow? Like was it a famous cow?
It's like London, isn't it?
You know,
London.
Inflation. They'd flown all the way from New Zealand probably.
I would honestly pay with my own money. I would not care. I would do it. I would absolutely pay for it. It was so fucking good.
Oh, really?
No, it was stupidly good. I don't know what they've done to it, but it was delicious. I dream about it.
What about finances and relationships, like how you've had that modeled growing up and comparatively to what you would want a long-term relationship to look like? With financial compatibility, is that something that you think is important, or have you?
As I said, all that matters to me is that my partner makes money, his own money, and I want to have my own money as well. Like I would never want to be in a relationship where I am dependent upon anyone for money or stability or anything like that. It's obviously so nice. Yeah.
Just a round of applause.
You just can't. You can't. You don't know what's going to happen.
Nah.
Like I'm like so driven. I want to make something for myself on my own. And then how amazing if he's slaying and he can provide extra. And then you're like not only feeling stable within yourself, you're like, oh, if I ever needed help, like he could help me out. And, you know, then you can eventually pay it back. Or if then you get married together, you can form that together. I just think it's really important for me personally that I'm with someone that's driven and is financially stable, because I'm financially stable. I need someone that can match my lifestyle, match my life and my goals moving forward.
Oh, I love that. I think you really put that in such a great
really
way.
Eloquently.
Yeah. And so like, do you think that you would be in a mindset where if you were to get married to somebody that you would combine finances at some point? Or do you think that keeping that separation makes you, makes you feel like...
I would always have my own money, I think. And like, but I say this, I'm such a sucker for love. Like if I was with someone, I'm just like, yes, let's combine our whole lives.
So much.
Yeah,
let's
combine it. And like if he's like way richer than me, of course I'm going to be like, yes, let's combine.
Let's combine. Combine's good.
But I think you always should have your own money.
I agree.
Absolutely. Like you never know what can happen. You never know who someone can turn out to be or if they're going to do you dirty. Like as much as I want to believe in love and trust and all of that, you never know. So I think having your own, at least some, maybe if you like have kids and you get married and you want to like put some money together.
Kids, I think gets complicated.
Yeah.
It gets complicated for sure. I think then that's a separate conversation to have like a separate account or fund or whatever, but you should always, I think each party should have their own money.
Yeah, we always talk about that. Even just a small amount, whatever it is, $1,000, $5,000, whatever you can manage.
Something,
just something that if shit hits the fan.
It's like your escape fund or something.
Yeah, you've got a little parcel there that you know you're going to be okay with.
Yeah.
And if your partner's not okay with you having that, then that's a whole nother conversation.
I'm getting whacked by red flags.
Red flags, yeah.
100%. I'm wondering if you have any questions for Vic, like around with money, because like this is because I think it's
like,
really
literally
interesting.
so fucking many. I don't even know where I would start. I'm like,
She's so, I think it's been so nice for me to be able, as you were saying, like your mum's really financially literate and your whole family are quite into it. But I think having friends that you can talk to about this stuff is a different situation. I mean, we spoke at Oxford a couple of weeks ago and the guy, one of the guys put his hands up and was like, so I've got a daughter. I try and tell her about this shit. She doesn't listen. And it's kind of like, it's because you're her dad. It's not because you haven't got great information. You need to find someone you can relate to. So I feel like if any of your audience are listening to this and curious, they probably have similar questions to you. So like if there's anything you wanted to chat about.
I'm trying to think, like, well, I asked you about the property stuff. Maybe like, with people that are like stockbrokers and stuff, is that a way to, if you don't want to do the whole understanding the stocks, do you think that's smart to then have like a stockbroker kind of be the in-between person, or it's like then how do you know who to go to, or like
it's pretty overwhelming. And like
Vic used to be a stockbroker.
Is
that what it's called?
Fund manager.
Sorry.
But
bloody hell, she's so annoying with her like meticulous get it right.
No, so a stockbroker is like a mortgage broker, so they effectively just, you go, I want to buy this, they go, yep, cool, and they do it for you. Whereas like you have like financial advisor who's like, okay, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve?
Maybe that's more so like, do you think it's smart to,
I think
for say someone like me who's like literally dumb clueless, instead of going to my mum,
I'm like, you're not.
Who, I would normally go to my mum to ask for opinions and stuff, but I think sometimes having an external opinion could be valid.
Yeah.
But it's not so close. Do you think finding a financial advisor is a smart step for someone that doesn't fully understand?
I think if that's what's going to get you into investing, then definitely. Because like a lot of people are like, oh, but I just don't know who to go with. It's like, talk to friends, talk to family, talk to people that invest, get some. We can give you some recommendations too. But, but just like talk to them and be like, hey, do you use a financial advisor? Who would you recommend? But test it out, because it is kind of like what it's like. But it's someone that you want to trust. It's like having a lawyer or an accountant, someone that understands you, understands what you're trying to achieve. So it's okay to go see a few and be like, nah, I get weird energy from you, or nah, you just feel like you're trying to take me for a ride, or
But we actually do have an episode, Raising the Curve, episode 26, which was 4 questions to ask before investing, like with a fund manager. So I think if you're wondering if that's something you should do, that's a great episode, because it's just like the things to think about when choosing someone, like even the one that you shared around having a fund manager or an advisor that's invested in the same kinds of things that you then invest in, because they are choosing ones they know are going to be really good, just stuff like that, being like, oh, do you invest in this too? And things like that.
For sure.
Yeah. But it's hard because it is quite overwhelming, but that's kind of what we're trying to do, is like, if you know the questions to ask or you know what you're looking for, then it can be slightly easier. But I mean, you pay for a financial advisor, but we pay for any kind of service. But I think if that's what you need to get investing, then definitely do it, because it's like better than sitting in the bank. Sorry.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think if you're in a position where you have enough savings that it's a mere having it in the bank, then pay for the financial advisor.
Absolutely.
Because it's also like with money, I think it's so easy to be like, I'm going to deal with this tomorrow.
Yeah. And then 5 years later.
Yeah, and then you've lost
that's me with it. My mum gets so angry at me, and I'm like, it just is so overwhelming. But I also know how, like, the potential of my mind, if I just took a little bit more time to understand, because I've always felt like I'm very business savvy, because I am my business, like I'm savvy in that way, and it's like I just want to take it to that next step, because I also feel like as a woman feeling really empowered in that way would just be quite amazing, you know? Like I've been surrounded by men a lot of my life that are very on the business side, this, and this. And I'm never included in the conversations because it's like, oh, you just won't understand. So I've just started shutting myself off from it, being like, okay, yeah, I'll never understand. Now I'm like, no, Cartia, that's bullshit. Like involve yourself in the conversation and outsource the information.
And that's because you've learned and you know what you want and what you're trying to achieve. And it's the same with investing. It's like, yes, you'll have people that will tell you what to do, but the more that you can understand yourself, the more you're able to be like, no, that's not what I want to invest in, or that doesn't align with my values or whatever. Yeah. But it takes time. It's like, don't think
it's going to happen overnight.
I reckon binge our podcast, honestly.
I'm
not
excited.
to be self-promoting, but I genuinely
I'm
think.
excited. I feel like for me, my brain was just in such a like mode, and now I'm like, okay, well, we need to look at some things in your life. And I think moving overseas also puts a lot into perspective too, of just like, okay, like you want more stability. So, and just that comfort knowing you've got some things in check.
And if you're investing it well, that's another revenue stream.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Just like relax.
You just sit back and you be like, you know what, I've got my interest coming in on my investments. Thank you. I guess one on maybe that multiple revenue streams, the lumpiness, you know, like I'm assuming that you get paid maybe in lump sums or just kind of in large parcels. How do you manage that from like a budgeting cash flow standpoint?
I have set up me as Cartia Mallan is now a business. So it's like all my money goes into my business and then I pay myself a salary from the business. So once a month I'll get paid from the business, I guess. But
that's so clever.
Thank you, Mom. Because you also get taxed less once you're a business kind of thing. Yeah. As a content creator, I guess. Am I supposed to say that?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably good because there's probably content creators that don't even know you get taxed. If you are, look into that.
Oh, yeah. No, I learnt the hard way on that one.
Did you get a big tax bill or something?
Yes.
I know so many people that's happened to.
Yeah, because I was just young and didn't know, did I? I thought that my mum would maybe tell me, but I don't know what happened there. But anyways, until that structure was set up, I honestly don't know. I was just letting my savings compile.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really spending much, like, so I could manage it fine. Like, I'm not my mum laughs when I say, I've said so much about my mum in this because all my money stuff links back to my mother, but I say I'm not a big spender. She seems to think I am. I spend my money on like my friends going out for dinners or like just life necessities. So I feel like I've never had to budget.
Is that because you get stuff for free though? Like
maybe,
and
yes,
like because you love fashion. Is it like because that's expensive? Clothes, makeup, that kind of thing's expensive.
I also I'm a big vintage shopper, thrift shopper. Like I don't have a crazy I'm going to go out and I need to buy all these expensive clothes. I think I've formed more of an expensive taste as I've gotten older, so I have a bit more leeway to do so. But when I made a lot of money when I was younger.
Yeah.
So that money really has just been compiling over the years because I was really only putting out money on my living expenses like rent when I moved to Sydney and when I was living in Byron, and I'm just smart-ish when it comes to I don't drop lots of money on materialistic things.
Have you had any, not blowouts, but have you had any purchases where you're like, okay, this is a treat myself moment and I'm going to spend this much on something outrageous?
Yeah, more so recently, moving here and when I'm getting paid bigger jobs, I'm getting paid in pounds. When it hits my account, it's double.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean?
Gosh, so ours is halved.
I know, it's so depressing.
I know, no. That was me for the whole first year here, though. I took an L moving here, and all my savings, I guess, came in handy because I did lose a lot of money moving here because it was double everything paying in pounds. But now that it's going back, I did a big job and got paid and it hit my account, it was double. And I was like, I'm off to Selfridges. And I think it's really important every once in a while to do those little things to get yourself something. Because I just never did that growing up. I just was like, I don't need anything. I just kept all my money there and never really I felt weird spending a lot of money on myself. It felt silly. But no, now I do it every once in a while. I make sure it's a really good investment piece that.
Yeah. I love that you're looking at Vic. It promises.
It's going to go up in value. It's going to go up in value.
I used to spend sometimes if I bought, say, a designer bag, I get something stupid and bright and colorful that I couldn't, it wasn't timeless.
Yeah.
It was only a for the moment piece. Now I buy, I bought a YSL bag the other day that's a big travel bag and it's just black with gold and it's you're going to have this for years.
Yeah.
Give this to your children if you don't destroy it before then, you know?
Yeah, that's cool.
Nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
I need to take a leaf out of that book. I just get way too excited.
Yeah.
I'm in a weird position at the moment. Like
Yeah.
I've had to take so much money out of my investments because moving to London's just been so expensive.
It is.
Holy shit. But I just recently decided, I was like, you know what, I'm actually just going to take money out of my investments. A, because I've smashed my phone screen. B, because I have to pay for things like lost AirPods, etc. However, I'm also going to take myself on a little week-long trip to Europe and just not feel sad about it, because I've actually just got to the point where I was like, I'm sick of feeling stressy and like worried and not treating myself. I'm just going to give myself a week where I know this is stupid and I know I'm taking money out, but
it's not though. Like I always talk to my friends about money manifesting, like, because as I was saying,
This
like,
is what
I'm
I wanted to ask
very
you about.
spiritual, and it's like people are either going to be like, you dumb bitch in saying this. I don't really care. This is what's worked for me. I taught my mum how to do this because my mum used to be a stressy about money stuff. And I said, the minute you relinquish all of this stress and this lack of abundance, right now you're telling the universe, you're telling yourself, I am lacking. There's no space to attract anything here, especially money. And I did this for myself when I moved to London. I wasn't getting any jobs because no one knew who I was here yet. I wasn't getting booked. And then I just was so stressed about money. I was like, I'm going to have to leave London. I can't survive here. Like everything's expensive, like stress, which you're just putting out a negative emotion. It's blocking everything. The minute I went, every day I was doing mantras. I was like, I am abundant. I am making money. I'm getting paid lots of money. I'm getting paid in pounds. I would write in my journal, pound symbol, like everything. I was like, money is coming to me now. I am deserving of this, like blah, blah, blah. I started getting jobs come in. And I also went to the shops and I bought myself something nice, or you upgrade your living conditions. Like I got those new bed sheets that I really wanted, and I got a new Dyson vacuum cleaner or something to keep my house clean. When you invest in things that are going to upgrade your living qualities or living standards, and you go, I deserve to live this way, watch everything change. I'm not kidding you. And it's not saying money just comes out of thin air.
So it's like,
but you set, I can get on board.
But you set a new standard. It's just like that. These are my rates because I respect myself. It's going, well, this is what I know I deserve, and it's all going to come to me. Like I am attracting this because your heart's open, your brain is open. You're going, I'm just going to let this flow in. You still have to work hard, but you're then more positive. And when you're just doing it for yourself, it's like, oh my God, I'm like proud of myself. And it's always making sure you're reflecting, going, this is what I've achieved. Because it can be so hard when you're like on that path to grinding or wanting to make more money and nothing feels good enough. I'm not doing enough. I'm not enough yet. You need to reflect on what you've done in that, say, past month, past year, so you can acknowledge, wow, I am making steps. Because you also can't get caught up in money. You'll just become a shit person. Money, it is that thing. It doesn't make you happy. It makes you comfy and nice things. But if you do get too caught up in it, it just makes you a bit evil, doesn't it?
There was like
gotta be careful.
There was a survey that was done, I think not that long ago, and it was like they interviewed, I can't remember, hundreds of people of various salaries, and some earned like 50,000, some earned 3 million. Like it was like huge salary discrepancies, and they said, what would be the ideal salary where you think you would be happy and you would be fulfilled? And everyone said about 3 to 4 times more than I make now. Yeah. Even the people earning millions, even the people earning, next to nothing.
Wow.
Everyone wanted that little bit more, but then they would have got there and they'd want a little bit more. Like there's no.
I can tell you for a fact the happiest I've ever been in my life was also, I was younger, so probably like not as much stress, but genuinely it was when I'd first moved to Byron and I put all my savings, which was $5,000, I put it all onto this apartment so I could live in Byron to like pay my rent up front. I couldn't even say like nothing really in my bank account. I was just fucking cruising. I was like, I'm here and there. Like I've got this place and I'll sort it out. And it was the happiest I've ever been. But I guess I've, from a young age, never been money oriented that much. It's never been like my defining factor of joy. But I've noticed when I moved here and I started stressing about money, and I still had savings in my account and I'm stressing it's just not coming in as much. It can make you a little bit.
So what are my new mantras that I need to work with? What am I manifesting money?
I'm abundant. Money is coming my way now. Pounds.
Pounds.
Okay, great.
Just do a little pound sign everywhere.
Just get a pound tattoo. Oh my
God. money everywhere.
Money.
Just have like money coming out of my pockets all the time. Like,
Just wake up going.
have a bath in money. Oh, Cartia, it was so nice to have you here.
Thank you guys
so much for being so open. And it's been really interesting to hear. It's cool when you see behind the scenes of different industries and people's experiences. And I think that people have learned a lot listening to you share that stuff. So thank you so much.
Thank you.